So I gained weight. Something I've said in interviews and in panels at playlists and VidCon and things like that, and in front of crowds, but I've never said on my channel, is that I don't necessarily believe in the same body positivity I did when I first started making these types of videos, and I want to explain why. For a long time, I made a lot of excuses for my body. I talked a lot about how, I was curvy, I was big, but I worked out 2 hours a day. When I was vegetarian and then eventually vegan, I went both of those things for my own health because it was something I felt good with at the time, but I wound up using it in a lot of scenarios to kind of, I guess the best word here is make excuses or explain why my body wasn't a bad one. And the reason that this, now looking back, is not a good way to look at body positivity is that when I make excuses and when I say that, I'm a big girl, I'm a thick girl, I'm fat, I'm whatever you want to call me, but I'm not the wrong kind of fat, it sets the precedence that there is a wrong kind of plus size and there is a wrong time to be body positive. I have gained weight. And this is something that has happened over the course of the last several years. If you go back and watch previous videos, I was smaller than I am now. And honestly, when I sat down to think about this, I wondered how much smaller was I in pounds and in sizes. And I thought about saying these things, but the problem is that it doesn't matter. And people take it way too far and way too out of proportion and use those numbers to judge, to compare, to decide whether what I'm saying is good enough in their eyes. There are people who will not believe a number. There are people who will not believe a number because they'll say they had gained, let's say, XYZ pounds. I don't even want to give a fake number. And then because of that, I'm lying because I say I've gained XYZ and I look very different from them. When I was younger, I had lost a ton of weight. Initially through the Weight Watchers program, which I found a lot of success on. It helped me learn how to really control my portions and not overeat. And it not really taught me about nutrition, but more so taught me about what I was putting in my body and what exactly that meant. Over time, just because I had lost a lot of weight and it had sort of stabled out, I became really obsessive about counting calories, about starving myself and then binging and then starving some more. When I have talked about my eating disorder in the past, again, there's been a lot of people who say that because of my size and because I was never underweight by medical standards, that my eating disorder is invalid and therefore shouldn't be counted. And I'm ridiculed a lot for talking about it, but it is something that I struggle with to this day. And it's a huge reason why I've taken a step back from body positivity. I feel like a hypocrite when I talk about loving yourself and loving your body, when I genuinely do look in the mirror and I really do love myself, and then I do these things that are so unhealthy for me, and these things that I've been doing since I was a teenager that I know are so damaging both to my body, to my soul, to my mind, to every single part of me. I know it's bad, I know it's wrong, and yet here I am still doing it like 10 years later, counting every calorie that I burn when I work out, counting every calorie that goes in my mouth, and it's unhealthy and it's bad. And I want to be honest, but it is very hard when you live in a world as judgmental and as not understanding as ours, to say not only that you have gained weight, but also that you have an eating disorder that you will struggle with for the rest of your life. Within the last few months, it's really kind of hit me that I had gained weight, because it's not that I didn't know, but it's more so that I was focusing so heavily on my lifestyle and on keeping active and on trying to eat healthy and not considering so much the number in my pants or the number on the scale. And then I did step on the scale and I saw that number and it floored me. And here I was thinking, but I'm not the wrong kind of fat. I'm not the wrong kind of plus size. And every day I woke up and I looked in the mirror and I didn't hate my body. I dressed the way that I wanted to. I was still body positive. And yet seeing this number on the scale brought back so many memories and so many awful feelings. And I found myself over the course of that day saying that I couldn't eat until 6 p.m. So I do these things that are so counterproductive to this love I hold for myself. I love the way I look. I love my body. I love this skin and I honor it with every single breath in me, but my actions don't line up. I remember being in high school and talking about my friends who went off to college and who inevitably would gain a few pounds. And I remember talking to people in my life who had a lot of influence over me and remembering the way that they would talk about these people and saying how, oh, they really let themselves go, or well, they gained the freshman 15. And the way that they would talk about them, like they were bad people. You're not bad or wrong or worthless because you gained weight. And the reason I wanted to make this video and have this very candid discussion is because I've tried to have it before and it wasn't very well received. Because again, there was a lot of looking into my eating disorder and my relationship with food, which I am still very hesitant about talking about. And honestly, I don't matter in the grand scheme of things. This is my story and this is what I'm telling you. But the reason that I talk about these things isn't for me, it's for you. Because if I can help one single person who does step on the scale and who sees that number fluctuating, whether it's up or down or the same as it was last week, I want you to know that you have worth. You're a good person and you're beautiful in every stage of life, and that doesn't change based on weight fluctuation or a change in your pant size. These rules that I have for myself with food are so heavily engraved into my brain that when I saw that number and when I saw that weight gain, I immediately reverted back into, okay, this is how we're going to fix this problem. Even though now, being a 24-year-old woman, I know that there's nothing to fix with my body. I also understand that this is something that I'm going to struggle with for the rest of my life. And if you are fortunate enough never to have struggled with your relationship with food, you are so very lucky. Because for a lot of us who struggle with eating disorders, it is forever. It doesn't stop. There is no switch. There's no growing out of it. I certainly have thought multiple times that I loved my body too much and I loved the skin that I was in too much, and I loved myself and I considered myself a good person with a good heart, with good intentions, who deserved love and respect the way that I would give it to a friend who I thought these things of. But there is this teensy tiny little agonizing voice in my head that tells me that there's something wrong and that I have to be fixed. So many people live with this. So many people go through this. And so many people will live with these nagging little voices in the back of their heads for the rest of their lives. And this is what I want to say to you, is that so many of you look at my videos and look at my Instagram posts and look at my outfits and you think that you can't wear what you want to wear and you can't live the way that you want to live because of this reason and this reason and this reason and this reason. I still struggle and I'm going to struggle for the rest of my life, and some seasons are harder than others. But you deserve to make that leap of faith. You deserve more. And you have the choice and the option. You can be body positive without being there 1,000,000% of the time. Because I really don't know if anyone is truly there 1,000,000% of the time. You can choose to be confident and you can choose self-love, even if that means that it isn't there 24/7. You have to make those tiny steps and you have to choose respect for yourself, and you have to be the one to say that you can do this. The reason I share my struggles isn't for a pity party, and it's certainly not for comments, because most of the time the ones on this type of video I don't even want to think about. It's because if I can help you through a situation like this, or even just to make that first step towards self-love and self-respect, that's what's most important. And when we stop waging war on ourselves, we stop the cycle of inflicting this on our daughters and our sons. Growing up, my mom was very body conscious, and I know that that played a huge role on my self-esteem, and I never want that for my kids. And I know that you don't want that for your kids or the future of our world or the people around you. When you take that step, you are influencing more people than you could ever imagine. You're influencing your friends and your family and yourself. And when you see the impact that self-love can make on everyone else, you realize this isn't a stage that you reach and being self-confident and being in love with yourself and with your body and making peace with what you have isn't a destination, it's an ongoing journey. And you deciding to make that step can influence more people than you could ever imagine. This is a different kind of video, and I hope that it was helpful, and I hope that it meant something to you. If you are struggling right now with your body, with an eating disorder, with self-love, maybe just take a step back. Think of yourself as your best friend. Would you ever want your best friend to treat themselves the way that you're treating yourself, and the way and the words that you're saying in your head to yourself? Would you ever want that for someone else? And I'm sure that 99.9% of you say, of course not. You are not worthless. You are so worthy of love and respect from others, but mostly from you. And you can make that choice, and you can start taking steps towards self-love. And it's what I want for all of you. So this was kind of hard to make, and I hope that you found something good and something positive in it. And if you did, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I love you all very, very, very much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.